and reference services to the faculty and students. So over to you, Ms. Mehreen.
Thank you, Bahar, for the introduction. I hope everyone is here and everyone. Should I share my screen right now, or is it shared?
You have to share it, Miss.
So, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am,
is
it's
it
visible.
possible for you to speak a little louder?
Can you hear me now? Can you
Yes,
hear me now?
yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, thank you everyone and welcome to the advanced searching skills and e-library session using the internet to do the research and advanced searching techniques. Like I've been introduced, I'm Mehreen Tahir and I'm a librarian at FCC. We'll start off with our presentation first. So these are some basic understanding of the internet, some things that we need to understand before we go on the internet or before we start working on the internet, because it's a big world out there on the internet and the online information. So first thing first, searching on the internet is very different from traditional library search. The print resources in the library, they're thoroughly evaluated by experts before publishing, whereas as compared to the information on the internet, we do not almost always find the information that is credible. So there comes a need to evaluate that information. The materials available in the library is organized. It is classified, goes through a process of cataloging, and it is cataloged systematically. Whereas on the internet, we do find information which is quite scattered, and we then need to scrutinize it according to our relevancy. So there is an information overload over there, and most of the time there is no review or screening process that is done on most of the information available on the internet. That is why we feel this need to apply different techniques. We need to have a search strategy with us, and we need to evaluate information resources. Hence, the internet is a tremendous resource, but it must be used carefully and critically. This is just most of you would be aware of this concept, but for everyone's understanding, finding information on the web, we use this web address that connects us with a website. So the URL is the most important information. The address, like for example, in the library, we use the call number for most of the information to get the books from the shelves. But here on the internet, we generally use the URL or the web address to access different websites. And it also tells us about the domain names of different websites. For example, commercial websites for .com, for .gov for governmental websites, .org for organizational websites, and for institutional websites we use that particular institution name, or educational websites. So they also tell us the domain names, also the purpose behind a particular website. There are three common searching platforms that we generally use on the internet to find information, and which are, number one of them are the search engines that we use for searching general information. Then comes different kinds of scholarly databases that we use for our academic and research purposes, because that is the information that we don't find on Google, or if we find it, we have to go through a process of evaluation so that we can know that whether the information we're searching on Google is credible or not. But when it comes to research databases, there is 100% authenticity, and the material is evaluated and peer reviewed over there. So there is no doubt about using those resources for your research. And the third one is the library catalogs. Library catalogs are basically the pathways, or you can say the online pathways or the catalogs or the gateways to the library collection. So whatever we have in the library, you can search it through the library catalog. So each of the universities we have in Pakistan, most of the developed universities, they have their online public access catalog. So I'll show you our the FCC library catalog as well. So these are the three main searching platforms where we find and search information. Okay. Then there are some basic searching concepts that we need to understand about databases, because talking about research and talking about academic information, we need to first understand the concept of a database and how it works, because a database searching is very different from Google searching. We're very used to searching on Google and we find it very user friendly, but when it comes to databases, people often find difficulty retrieving information from those databases. So it is important to just have an idea about what are the different concepts about a database. So database is an organized collection of facts, figures, and information which can be shared or searched using criteria to find certain specified items called records. Now, what is a record? When we search in a database, we get a list, or we get a list of hits, results in front of us. So each individual unit in a database is called a record. So when we search in a database, we get a list of records. And then we search those records in certain fields. So field is actually the tiniest or the single bit of information that we have in a database. For example, we search in a database by the author's name, or by title, or by subject, or you can say by call number, or any other identifier or any other field that is available in a database. So these are the three basic searching concepts about a database. Now comes the part of advanced search techniques. First one of them is the Boolean logic, or we say Boolean connectors or Boolean logic. So there are three kinds of Boolean logic or Boolean connectors. Uh, this is and, or, and not. This is the one search technique that is highly preferable and highly usable, extremely helpful, and is available in almost all of the databases in the library or in the HEC digital library. And if we get hands-on on this particular search technique, then it would be very easy for us to search for in other databases as well, because this is the most important and top-notch, you can say, advanced search technique. So just to have a rough idea of what is and, or, and not, and basically allows you to search for both the terms appearing at the same time. I'll show you a demonstration of that as well, but just to have an idea of, or actually allows you to search for either of the terms at the same time, and not is actually used to exclude a query facet from the search query. For this, I'm using for the demonstration, I'm actually using the JSTOR database, because JSTOR is an excellent archival database. It is rich in scholarly content and has an extensive advanced search features. So we'll start off with JSTOR. I'm sure most of you have been using and are familiar with JSTOR. Right now we have got the access provided by Furman Christian College. That means we have got the access to the database and it is accessible on campus. So this is the homepage of JSTOR. This is on the home page. You will see the basic search bar. This one search bar is actually its basic search bar, where you put a query and then search for the term. Right on the top, we see here advanced search. So we'll click on that. I hope you all can see my screen right now on JSTOR.
Yes, it's visible.
Okay. So this is the JSTOR's home page. This is the basic search bar. And here on the top, you'll see the advanced search feature. So we'll go for advanced search, click on advanced search. Here from top to the bottom, we have a list of filters and different search techniques that we're going to apply right now. Here we have a search bar that says keywords and the second keyword, and we can add another keyword as well. For example, we are searching on a concept of Pakistan economy. Here in the drop-down menu, you'll see and, or, and not. So first we'll start with or Boolean operator. So we're searching for Pakistan or economy. And here we will select a particular field for that. If you want to select that, otherwise, for example, obviously Pakistan is not an author. We want it to appear in the item title, or if we want it to appear in the abstract, or we want it as a caption, we'll select that field. Otherwise, if we select all fields, that means the database will search for this particular query in all of these fields. Either it's author, either it's title, or it's some other field. Similarly, here you can also specify if you want to, otherwise to skip this part. So when we apply the Pakistan or economy filter and then submit advanced search, the database will search for either the term Pakistan or the term economy, or both the terms appearing in the results. So what would happen? The number of results would drastically increase, and we would have a variety of results in our search. If we go back and we will replace this with and Boolean operator, then we are actually asking the search engine to search for Pakistan and economy appearing at the same time. Now you can see the number of results have they're quite less than the previous ones. They have decreased a lot, and since we haven't uh, specified any field, so the words appear anywhere in the text. Similarly, let's run another search. For example, is drug abuse and teenagers. And we'll add another search box. We want to study the drug abuse of among teenagers, and we don't want the aspect of alcohol coming in it. So by this we mean we want these two searches, these two keywords appearing at the same time, but we don't want the aspect of alcohol to be discussed in our results. So we'll apply the not Boolean operator to exclude the query facet that we don't want to appear in our search results, and then submit advanced search. So you will see drug abuse appearing at the same time, but the aspect, if you read the abstracts and if you read the title, you won't see the aspect or the word of alcohol coming in the results. So the concept of these three are basically to connect the query facets with and to have synonymous to have two different concepts joined by and, or you can use two similar or synonymous concepts with joined with or Boolean operator as well. And if you want to exclude a query facet from the search, just use the not Boolean operator. So that's how the Boolean operator or the Boolean logic works. Now comes another search technique, which is phrase searching or string search. So what basically phrase searching is? Phrase searching actually allows you to search for two or more words as an exact phrase, or in the same word order, or if you want to have a complete sentence and you want it to appear as an exact phrase or as one single word, you enclose it in quotation marks, you make it a string, and then you search for it so that it becomes an exact phrase besides those scattered words. For example, we're going to have a demo of it as well in JSTOR. For example, here in the basic search bar, you have, let's do it without quotation marks first. For example, social media and fake news. This is a search query, which is without quotation marks, which is a normal search. When we'll search for it, we've got this number of results, and the word order is disturbed. Sometimes we'll have the exact word order, or we probably won't have the exact word order. If I enclose it in quotation marks, and then now it's a string, or you can say it's an exact word, and we want the database to search for this exact phrase, then we'll search for it, and we would get only 52 results. So you can see the number of results have drastically decreased from thousands to just hundreds, and the word order is exactly the same. So this is actually used if you want to search for a book title. You can also make it a string, then enclose it in quotation marks, and then you can search for it so that you don't have any other irrelevant results. Similarly, if you have a journal title or an article title and you want that specific title to be searched for, make it a string, enclose it in quotation marks, and then search for it. You'll have the exact phrase without the word order disturbed. Then comes truncation technique. So truncation technique is actually a technique that involves finding variant forms of a single word. So what happens is that you keep the word root same, and then you apply a steric sign at the end, and you chop off the rest of the words to have the variant forms of that one single word. This can be helpful when you're doing content analysis or some other technique that is relevant to your research. It completely depends upon your research, the kind of search query you want to apply for. We're going to have a demonstration of it as well in JSTOR. For example, there is a word called color. So what if I want to find out the variant forms of this single word color? I would keep the word root COLO and would replace the R with a steric sign at the end and then press enter. When you do that, you'll see the different highlighted words here. So we have colonization, we have color, colonialism, colonial, we have colony, colonized. So I haven't searched for these words, but I have truncated the word root with with a steric sign, and I'm getting the variant forms of this one single word. Similarly, you can apply here. Let's say we want to have the different forms of this word called teen. So we're keeping the word root here and replacing the rest with with the truncation mark and then search. So here we have teens, we have teenagers, teenager, teenage. So again, the truncation technique has given us the variant forms of this one single word, which was teen. So this is basically the truncation technique. Then we have another search technique, which is called proximity search. Proximity search can also be best demonstrated in JSTOR. It actually specifies the distance between the query facets that we are giving to the database. For example, here in JSTOR's advanced search technique, let's say we're searching for teenagers and drugs. And here in this drop down menu and or not, below this you see near 5, near 10 and near 25. This is actually the proximity search, which specifies the articles where the word teenagers and drugs, either it appears between the distance of near 5 words, or you have the 5 words between, or the proximity between these two words is just 5, or it's 10, or it's 25. So when you search, you've set the proximity to near 5. You want articles that discuss these two concepts within the proximity of 5 words. So then you submit advanced search. It completely again depends upon your research need, the kind of technique you want to apply there. And when you open up their abstracts or you open up the full text articles, you'll see where the proximity of the words would appear between 5. Lastly, we have another search technique which is called search filters or search limiters. Now, there are different kind of search filters or search limiters. Again, we apply these search filters and search limiters to narrow down our searches from broader or from very specific or from general to specific, right? So again, I'm going to show you what kind of limiters or what kind of search filters we have in JSTOR advanced search. Right here below, the kind of filters starts. For example, number one, narrowing results by item type. Either you want an article in your research in the searches, or you want books, or you want both articles and books. You specify the language. Either you want articles in French or some other language. Normally we use English. Yes, publication date. Here you actually put in the publication date or the date range. For example, you want articles on this particular topic that was teenagers, and you want articles that were published between the date range of 2000 and 2021. So if you want to specify a date range, then give the date range. Otherwise, you can just leave this box, because the more filters you apply, the lesser results and the narrower results will be given to you. So it completely depends upon your research need, the kind of results you want. Then you can also apply the filter of journal. You can fill in the journal or book title box. For example, if you want to specify any journal, give the journal title or just leave it. ISBN is for book numbers. Normally people don't use that. Then you have a journal filter, which is by narrowing by discipline or by journal. So if you want to study this particular aspect in, let's say, in law, then you specify that subject area. Otherwise, if you don't want to specify any area, leave the filter here and then submit advanced search. So you will have lesser number of results within lesser time. We also have a list of filters on our library portal page. Here in the advanced, this is our this is FCC library portal, where you can find the library collection. And here in the keyword search, you will see a list of filters over here. For example, nature of content filter, from where you can select either directories or dictionaries or encyclopedia. Then you can also select the language filter like we saw in JSTOR. Place of publishing filter, if you want to specify any publication date range and etc. So this is the kind of filters that almost all of the databases have in them. Okay, some other considerations that we have when we apply advanced searching features, which is searching for images. So not all of the databases, but some of the databases like JSTOR, they do allow us to search for images in them. For example, here in JSTOR, at the at here in the at the basic at the home page, if you select the images and you put in a caption or a keyword over here, it will search for images. This feature is not available in all of the databases, but since JSTOR has an extensive range of searching facilities and features, this allows you to search for images as well. Then there is another consideration that you use specific fields, like I already told you that if you have put in an author's name, select the author field. If you put in a title, select the title field. And DOI. DOI is the digital object identifier. It's a unique address or unique number to an online article. Articles do have an DOI. If you have the DOI number with you, you don't need any other information to find that article on web. You can just put in the DOI on Google or in any of the databases, and you'll find that article from that database. So, and avoid using stop words as well when you're searching. These are some tips. For example, if is the or am, avoid using these words so that your search don't get distracted with these words. Okay, building literature using cited reference search. So cited reference search is basically, it allows you to search for those records who have cited the scholarly work in hand, the one you're reading. For example, if you're reading an article and you're going through the literature review, you found out a citation that is relevant, you want to find out what other articles have cited that particular resource, you can go for a cited reference search, you can track them, you can locate them on the internet as well. There are different sources for running a cited reference search or doing cited reference search. First one of them is Web of Science, Scopus, we have Google Scholar, and some of the databases also offer just locate doing a very basic cited reference search, like Taylor and Francis, Springer Link, Wiley Online Library, and Science Direct. We don't have access to Web of Science and Scopus, so we'll see in JSTOR, we'll see in Taylor and Francis and Springer links that how can we do that. So this is, let me just introduce you to this page, which is the library, FCC libraries page for online databases. To access online databases, we have actually listed down all of the databases that we have got access to through HEC Digital Library. And here we have a list of those: Springer Link, Taylor and Francis, Wiley Online Library. Let's open up Taylor and Francis and Springer Link as well. So Taylor and Francis, for example, I'm using a basic keyword here. So I've got a list of hits in front of us on the keyword. Let's say this one is relevant and I want to study this particular article, and I want to see the citations over here. So I'll go on metrics here, and in metrics I've seen that the citations here is in the Web of Science. There are 2 citations, and Scopus there are 1. So open up for another one. In Crossref, there is another article which has 5 citations. So these are the 3 references that the particular article that we just saw had cited in it. Similarly, from Springer Link, you can also look for cited references. to matrix, Web of Science and Crossref. You can check also in Crossref as well what other articles have cited this. And this is the one article that has been cited over here. So this is how you use the cited reference search, and in Google Scholar, it's quite easy. For example, this is the relevant article and I'm reading it and I want to go for the cited reference search. I'll select cited by, and I can see all those books and articles and materials that have cited this particular article in it. Okay. Then we have you can also be you keep on building your literature using HEC Digital Library. I've shown you the page to the FCC HEC Digital Library, but for all other universities, definitely all of the Pakistan private and public sector universities have access to the HEC Digital Libraries, and the pages are given on their library's website. So you can go to your library website page and click on the HEC Digital Library page so that you can access a list of those resources that have been given access to your university. Then there is another feature that you can use to build, that will help you build in literature, which is JSTOR's text analyzer. JSTOR's text analyzer is an interesting feature that helps you build searches and build the literature based on your content. I mean, based on your manuscript. So how do you do that actually? Again, go to JSTOR home. This is the JSTOR's home page. Here in the tools, you see JSTOR text analyzer. Click on this. For this, for example, if you're, let's say you're working on a thesis, on a research project, and you have your manuscript with you in the Word document, or either in, you can say either in PDF document, and you want to find results from JSTOR based on the keywords and the key terms that you have used in your writing, then you would actually just browse from your computer or just drop down the file from the desktop over here in the search box. So it has three stages. It's uploading your document, then it's analyzing text and identifying the topics, and then it will generate the recommendation based on your content. These are the results, and this is the analysis on the left hand side. First one is the prioritized terms. So these are the terms that have been used in your manuscript or the manuscript that I just uploaded. Social media, from here you can actually manage its concentration, you can lessen it down, you can make it increased, you can just delete it. You don't want online learning to be a part of your results, then just delete it from here. If you want to add any other term, you can add as well. For example, you want literacy in the search results, just add that term and the results would refine according to that. And then on the left hand side, you have identified terms. So these are the topics basically that have been discussed in the manuscript that you have written. So again, you can increase the concentration of the topics discussed. With that, the results here would automatically refine. And also, if there are any locations that have been discussed, any places that have been discussed, they would also come here. So right now it's Nigeria, so some results have been coming from, this is also included in the results as well. Then you keep on adding and deleting terms from here, and the results would keep on refining. And if you find the material relevant, you just download PDF, click on download PDF, accept and download. The article is taking time loading, but it's still downloading. Once it gets download, I will show you. There we go. And here, from here, you can download it in your browser, so it's saved with you. That's how you download an article from JSTOR. Okay, so now comes the aspect I would like to discuss is open access resources. That we have got a few questions also about how do we access free resources and open access resources. So open access resources are much better than free resources because these are credible and these are licensed as well, and these are free to download and to use. So open access resources, this is just for your understanding so that you know what are open access resources. These are unlike the traditional resources, they provide research information available to readers free of cost. So what are the benefits of those resources? For authors, their work gets obviously more access, more visibility, more citations, and for readers, they get immediate access to the research information free of charge. Like for like you all know that the HEC resources that we've got access to, sometimes user do face a difficulty that sometimes the articles are paid, sometimes they don't get access to it. So open access resources do not come with these limitations. This is a pictorial just to have give you a basic understanding of open access. Basically is actually a publishing model, a recent and modern publishing model. Subscription was a traditional publishing model which is still going on. So this is just comparison of the two, just to give you an understanding how these two works. So here we have the subscription model and here we have the open access model. Since like for example, funders, they fund the authors sometimes and sometimes not, but the authors do the research, they give it to the publishers then index it in different databases. Library then actually uh, pay for to get the access to those databases and then provide it to their users. In an open access model, when the authors do their research work, they probably might be charged a little bit of amount from the publishers, or they can give it to the publishers as well, or they can simply archive it in a personal or a digital repository. The libraries then get access to those paid databases if it's been charged, or they can simply get the direct access to those repositories, and then the users can get the access to the resources that are openly available. Here we have I have actually listed down a list of resources that are open access scholarly databases and directories, and I'm really helpful, and I'm sure that it would be quite helpful to all of you. It's a list of resources, open access resources. So first one of them is directory of open access journals. And then we have directory of open access books. We have Science Open. We have Archive, ePrint. We have Social Sciences Research Network. We have Public Library of Science, which is PLOS, which we have Open Door, Directory of Open Access Repositories, and then we have Biomed Central. All of these are open access resources and databases. I'll quickly show you one of those resources, and these have articles and journals and ebooks in them, which are probably licensed under Creative Commons license, or they are free and they're credible to use. And the journals in them, they're also credible.
Miss Mehreen, sorry to interrupt. We are running out of time. If it's possible, we can move towards the question answer session.
Okay, okay. We're almost done actually.
Okay, then take your time.
We're almost done. I've simply needed to show this resource, and then we have just check some pointers about evaluation. That's it.
Please do, please do.
So here we have a resource which is archive, ePrint open access resource. It's also a publishing resource. So some of the people who want to publish articles or something, you can contact this particular database. Someone asked us that how we can search archives, and for this is particularly resource specific for physics, math, stat, engineering, and computer sciences. So for example, let's say you have this particular keyword here, and you get a list of results here. You click, you have, this is the archive ID over here, which you can also use. And if you want to download the PDF, just click on PDF and the article will be downloaded, and you can save it then in your browser. So here we have some popular versus scholarly journals. This is just a differentiation between the two, that popular are sometimes commercial. Usually scholar ones are associated to some university. They're very formal, whereas popular articles are popular journals or magazines are sometimes they're informal. They're often illustrated. They have, short non-technical type of articles, but the scholarly ones have technical articles based on facts and evidences and research. Then we have an evaluation criteria where you go through these 5 checkpoints whenever you visit a website online, or you visit any article, or you're reading a blog. You have to go through these checkpoints, which is accuracy. You check why was this website produced, can you contact the author, you check the authority, who is the author or publisher behind this piece of information. If it's anonymous, then you have a doubt using it. Objectivity, sometimes you need to check whether the content that you're reading, is it subjective or is it objective, is it biased or not, right? Then you have to check currency, if you're relevant, if it's something relevant to science or something relevant to medicine. Obviously you would be needing some recent information, so you need to check the date of publication as well. Coverage, for this you need to see whether the piece of information that you're consulting, either it covers your the area or the scope of your research, or it's not covering that the area. So that's it. Thank you. Now you can yeah, we can have questions if you want right now, because we're done.
Yes. For the feedback, I am opening the poll, and you all can please give your feedback. Miss Mehreen, I'll read out the questions and then you can
Yes,
answer
sure.
them. Just give me a second, please. So Mr. Rashid is asking that I'm a student of distant learning program, and is it possible to access any online library at home?
Okay, Rashid, I'm sure, is he from FC or is he from,
No, I think
he's,
so. He's not mentioned it.
okay. But I'm not sure what institution you're linked to, but you can ask your, for example, if I go for our FCC services, we do provide our students and faculty with a VPN access through IT department at homes. During the years of COVID, we did that. So because these resources that are available through the library, these are actually based on subscription, so you don't have access to these resources at home. You can come on the campus and then you can access those resources.
Thank you. So, Miss Sania Imtiaz, we will share the slides and the video after 2 to 3 days. We compile them and we'll send them. Mr. Amjad Hussain from Air University, he wants to ask that what about IEE? Is it alternative, or we can also consult it?
IEE, can you
Yeah,
tell me what, I mean, what does IEE stands for?
he's
What does he
asking
mean
that.
with IEE? I mean, I
Mr.
didn't get
Amjad
his
Hussain
question.
from Air University, are you in the session? If you're in the session, please raise your hand or chat. So maybe moving on to the
Yeah.
next question. It's from Lebanese American University, and it's basically that what is the difference between OA resources and free online resources?
Yeah, actually, OA resources, I can actually compare these two. Basically, free resources, they don't have any licensing. They're just free. They can, if you're visiting any free resource, you would never see a normally OA resources that are open access resources. They're backed up by Creative Commons licenses, which is a type of license for open access resources. So they're always backed by those resources. They're very credible. They go through a process of peer review. They're not, but in comparison to free resources, the major difference is that they're not backed up by any licenses. If they're on the website, probably you don't find them on the same website some other day. They can be removed anytime. So they don't have any authority behind them, proper authority. So open access resources are actually based under the publishing model of open access, and they go through the process of licensing and year reviewing and all that. So they're very credible resources in comparison to free resources.
So Mr. Amjad from Air University, he was talking about, I'll just share the screen, about this advancing technology for humanity,
Okay,
IEE Explore.
IEEE Explore. Yes,
Yeah,
IEEE Explore. Yes, IEEE Explore, we don't have access to it on FCC, but it's an excellent resource for engineering and computer sciences resource.
Miss Nilofer Shaheen, can you please revise your question for a systematic? She's asking for a systematic or a scoping review in medical education. If we use just PUB MED as database, would it be enough?
I would say that PubMed would be enough to do a literature review, because when like for my understanding, when you're doing a literature review, you need to cover every possible resource that is accessible to you. Either it's PubMed or it's Taylor and Francis or Springer Link or JSTOR. So you need to collect information from almost all of those databases, the maximum you can get from these resources. So I think you need to cover all of the resources, not just PubMed, to have a systematic literature review.
Mr. Amjad Hussain from Air University has a comment on IEEE. He says that it is a library same like we see we see in this session, but they provide access to institutions only, and we can access closed resources through university, not by subscribing or paying anything. I think so. It's a comment.
Okay.
Zunaira
So
Iftikhar, you want to say something? Miss Marine?
no, I didn't want to. I was just listening to you.
Okay. Ms. Zunaira Iftikhar from UET says, in some online resources, we have both types of research articles, free access and not accessible. How we can get the access of these articles?
Those that are not accessible, you're asking about those?
In some online resources, we have both type of research articles, free access and not accessible. How we can get the access of these articles?
Yeah, again, talking about in scenario of our university FCC, for example, here there are some resources. For example, in Taylor and Francis, we do have access to 90% of the material, but sometimes 10% of the material which is paid. So we do have a service over here, which is that we ask our users to send us requests to the library, so that we, through our resource sharing, can provide you with those articles that are not accessible otherwise. I mean, there are those that are limited, those that are paid on, based on subscription, those that are paid. The users send us the links to those articles at our e-article delivery service. Almost all of the universities, libraries probably would be having this service, e-article delivery service. So you can actually send your those articles to the library, and they can help you out with accessing those material that is not accessible to you on campus. Because not all of the material is accessible, we provide you access 90, like for 90% of the material is available. Sometimes we come across resources. For example, in some of the databases, let's say in Taylor and Francis and in Springer Link, we do not subscribe to the books in the collection. We only subscribe to the articles. So when users go to the books, they assume that we have got access to the books as well, but we don't. So in that case, if they need the resource, they can send it to the library, and then the librarians then help them out with accessing those resources further.
That's pretty much it. We don't have any other questions. Ms. Mehreen, I thank you so much for taking time out and conducting an insightful session. And thank you to the participants, both from former Christian College and outside FCCU. So that's it. We'll be sharing the video and the material after 2 to 3 days. And that's it. Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.